Prince, Gaiji had sent me an accurate of information that Honorable Kennedy Ohene Japan had picked up the nomination forms on the first day of June. And so we'll be following up on that. Let me come back to the studio to do some security matters. And I'm going to shift away a bit. I'll come back to the girls who have been arrested by, or the perpetrators of that Nefarious Act, who have been arrested by the Ghana Police Service. But I quickly want to take you. Adib Sani is a security expert. He's with me here in the studio now. And I'm going to take him back a bit before I come back to the issue of the girls. I played a video early on about Mr. Frejan, who is a former electoral commissioner, saying some things which is political anyway. But I want to see if you would give me a comment on that, the impact on our elections and security-wise and so on and so forth. Is it reasonable? Let me, for want of better words.
Well, thank you for having me. Of course it is. It is reasonable. I'm a political scientist myself, and I do know the importance of democratic institutions when it comes to elections. And one of the very most important is the electoral institution. We do know that for a number of conflicts in the past in Africa that has to do with politics, suspicions over the electoral process is usually the culprit. For example, in 2007, there was an election in Kenya, and we saw what happened. After that election, that was strongly contested between the Orange Democratic Movement and the People's National Union. Indeed, before that election, there was an AU document called the Early Warning Mechanism that was submitted to the authorities, pointing to certain lapses within the electoral regime that they didn't really pay attention to, and it culminated into widespread violence in which over 1,000 people were killed. In Ivory Coast, there was so much mistrust in the electoral process to the extent that there was disagreement after the election in 2010, which also culminated into a civil war in 2011, in which thousands died. Then we can talk about the almighty America, January 6th, Capitol Hill invasion, which started because of certain remarks by Donald Trump and, his followers about how the whole, process was rigged and all that. So people really need to have confidence and trust in the process. That is why it's extremely important that we work to improve that. If not, you can have the best election in the world, yet people might have issues with it because there's no trust. So his comments are timely. That is why it is imperative we need to pay attention to inter-political party dialogue. Sometimes, there are disagreements, but we don't have to think that they are frustrating the process, so we relegate them to the background. I mean, that could be cataclysmic for our democracy, especially as we go into 2024, which I must say is going to be very, very dicey. So we need to start talking about this, and I'm particularly refreshed. I mean, happy that...
In as much as we need to have the conversation on it, of course, to ensure transparency and so on and so forth, is it a necessity that, for example, he says we should reduce the number of collation centers because he believes, and of course, from his experience, that it allows for manipulation?
Well, you can even have few collation centers, yet there will be manipulation.
Yet there will still be manipulations.
We want accessibility. I think it is important. So, I mean, that is his opinions, and they say they are like doses. So, we should consider that if it is plausible, if it is applicable in our situation, why not? But in my candid opinion, I don't think it is enough justification going into the election next year.
No. For the coalition centers to be reduced?
No. I think we should maintain.
People are actually calling for lot more of coalition centers
absolutely,
to ensure transparency.
Absolutely,
so
because
it's amazing to think that we should rather reduce it.
Yeah, when it's crowded and convoluted, it becomes quite complex. But when it is decentralized with a number of coalitions, it makes it quite easy for you to be able to go through the process without qualms. So I beg to differ on this occasion.
So he talks about technology as well, and in your space, of course, if you are not technology inclined, you cannot survive. is it also a necessity, let me ask the same question, that we are too cautious of the use of technology in our elections?
Well, technology is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad. You remember the incident at the University of Ghana when they had their election
Exactly.
and the issues that came up. Even recently with the law school election, they intended making it biometric, and people would be able to vote even in absentia and all that, and some issues culminated as a result. We can leverage on the positives of technology, but I agree that yes, we need to exercise a great deal of circumspection in adopting. Even in the US, remember the Russian issue, when the Democrats accused Russia of rigging the election, for Trump.
For Trump, yes.
And Trump continuously calls it, the Russia hole. Yeah, we never know, but surely technology can it's an invention of men, and it is the same men who can also, take advantage of it to engage in activities that is inconsistent with our democracy.
So let me drift from that and now come back to the issues concerning the molested girls and so on and so forth. We are reading, and I have it here on Ghana Web, provided by my producer, that the 4 suspects who engaged or perpetrated this heinous crime have been arrested, and they are going to be arraigned before court and so on and so forth. You have been with the security industry for so long. The actions of the police, I think, are swift.
Absolutely. I think I have some notes here about exactly what is happening. Okay, so one of the major issues we've had to contend with over the years has got to do with the inefficiency of law enforcement. Indeed, a lot of such has happened in the past, and the people complain that when they report to the police, nothing happens. Unfortunately, on the other hand, Chrissy, it would interest you to know that for a lot of people in that area who are unlettered, they are not educated, when such stuff happened, they don't report to the police. For example, this latest issue, the lady never reported to the police. She just conveniently moved from where it happened. And there are some other women who have also alleged that they've been equally sexually assaulted. But on this occasion, I must say, the police, especially the IGP, has shown a lot of resolve and commitment towards ensuring that these people are caught. I was on the phone with him. I was on the phone with him together also with the leadership of the Fulani community in Ghana, including the president of the Ghana National Council of Fulani Chiefs. We were also very much coordinating with the Upper East Regional Police Commander, who has also done a great job all the way to the wee hours of the morning, and thankfully, that morning at around 3 a.m., these 4 individuals were arrested. But that's not all, because there are some other individuals who were captured on tape. And I'm hoping that they are also caught later. But the lady in question also is currently in the custody of the police service. The IGP promised to dispatch a psychologist to understand the
Yes, I'm reading that they have. They have actually dispatched a psychologist.
Yeah, and they are doing a great job, I must say. But I'm hoping that we get consistent with this. Other issues that come up later would be given priority like this one. So it serves notice to all those persons who think that they will be able to perpetrate such heinous crimes.
I think the action of the police is very key, because like you had started talking about, there are lots of these issues that happen in pockets and in pieces across everywhere in the country, not just in the northern part, and nobody gets to hear of it.
Absolutely. I mean, sexual violence, especially against women, is real. And for a lot of people, because of their cultural, issues,
I agree.
The victims rather feel at fault. They feel ashamed. I mean, it shouldn't have happened to me. Perhaps I caused it. So when it happens that way, they never report to the police. And we have some other women who also claim they have actually been raped. this lady we've seen the video of was beaten. She wasn't raped. Okay, but there's this other lady who was returning, I think, from an area called Winaba within the Zibula area.
Okay.
And she was, according to her, she was raped by 3 men. After that, they followed her home. Yes. Oh. And they followed her home. She had some other sisters there, two other sisters, and they were also raped. And 2 additional men covering their faces raped her again. So that day alone, 5 men raped her, according to the information we're picking up. And all happened on that very day. This lady in question was beaten. So it looks like it was well planned and thought.
There was an action to do this, a planned action to do
exactly.
this.
So these girls, and by the way, all of them are married. Okay. They were most of them were returning from the market, and they were ambushed, and it happened to them. Wow. This lady we saw in the video being beaten, she was from the market with other ladies who were able to escape. Unfortunately, she couldn't, and that's exactly what happened to her.
Let me leave that and go back to Honorable Inusah, and he has been on the line with us throughout the discussion. And Honorable, let me greet you again. If you are still there with us, I will now come to the special prosecutor issue, but I would also beg to pick your comment on the former chair of the Electoral Commission statement, Mr. Afarajan's statement, on the fact that 2 major points: we should reduce the number of coalition centers to reduce what he believes is manipulation. If there are a lot more coalition centers, there can be manipulation of the electoral system at the various polling stations. And the second one is for the entire country to be very cautious of the introduction of technology, which I believe this is related to the Ghana card, usage of Ghana card in the 2024 election. We should be very cautious in the usage of this. He adds, though, that we should make sure the people that are going to vote understand the practice of technology in the election. And this is what he has said in a lecture that he gave today. I would quickly pick your comments, then we'll do the special prosecutor.
Well, so I'm still there, and I agree entirely with Afarajan. I think that the introduction of regional coalition centers was needless. We ought not to have replicated the layer for regional coalitions because the elections are branch-based or constituency-based. And so when constituencies transmit their results, they are inputted into the master results card at the headquarters, that's the Electoral Commission. And when all the results come in, then you will get the person who has been elected member of parliament and also the person who has been elected in that constituency to be president. And to replicate the coalition at the regional centers allow for manipulation of results. I mean, and so I think that Afarajan is right. I was part of the legal committee of the NDC party who looked at the issue carefully, and we also recommended that the regional coalitions
All right, so I'll come back. I'll come back to you, Sani. I think we apologize. We apologize to Honorable Inusah Fuseini. We had kept you on for long, so I'm sure that you have been timed out, but we'll get back to you now and make sure that we get through this. So the technical team will have to get back to you again. So on the matter of the girls. All right, so we are trying to get the information I'm getting is that we are trying to get Honorable Inusah. But how do we, as a country, that this thing that is rearing its head is seen no more?
Okay, so I think, first of all, we have to work to nip in the bud the stereotypes, the negative stereotypes about these people. Unfortunately, I see a lot of Ghanaians thinking Fulanese are outsiders. You know, they are foreigners. For crying out loud, our second lady is Fulani. We have Fulanis whose parents fought for Ghana in our independence struggle. The president of the National Council for Fulani Chiefs, his father was a soldier, you know. Yakubu Bari, who is also very vociferous in this matter, who also was born in the barracks. You know, his father fought in the colonial army. So let us not think that all Fulanis are foreigners. Indeed, some are foreigners, but we have some Fulanis who are Ghanaians as well. And the media needs to help, you know. We have publications such as two Fulani armed robbers caught, two Fulani rapists arrested, you know. So
the tagging, the way the news items are even covered on the newspapers and so on.
Just remove the Fulani and put any of the tribes, and you see how awkward it's done. I mean, it sounds. We say if you be there, all right. So we have Fulani criminals. We have Dagomba criminals, we have Ashanti criminals, we have Ewe criminals, but you don't paint all of the ethnic group with a single stroke of brush because of the actions of a few. I've also, you know, on countless occasions appealed to the Fulani leadership to work closely with their people on the ground to rid their societies, their communities of these dangerous criminals who are hell-bent on dragging all of them into disrepute. And like I also stated earlier, the issue is got to do with law enforcement. In criminology, we have what we call the rational choice theory. Before you perpetrate a crime, as a human, you are able to juxtapose the risk and the reward factors. So if I pick this phone, but I feel that if I pick it, I'll be caught because there are cameras all over the place. What happens? I wouldn't.
You will not pick it.
Exactly. But if I feel that I wouldn't be caught, I'll be left off the hook, definitely I'll be incentivized into picking it. So we need to stop the impunity.
People do bad things because they feel they won't be caught.
They will not be caught. You know, that is a problem. So we need to stop the impunity by ensuring that such cases are fully investigated.
Let me go back to Honorable. Honorable is back on the line. Honorable, we were picking your view on the Electoral Commission, former Electoral Commission chair statement, and we lost you. Let me apologize to you that we had kept you for far too long on the line, and so we lost you on that. But we are back. If you can hear me, kindly box on with your statement on that. Honorable, if you can hear me, kindly unmute your mic because we have just come back.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
thank you very much.
So I was saying that I was part of the legal committee of the NDC who looked at the electoral laws of Ghana and came to the conclusion that it was needless repeating the regional coalition centers. And so we recommended that the regional coalition centers be scrapped. After all, elections are constituency-based, are branch-based. Every constituency's result, or every constituency's results will come from the branches. And then when all the branches within the constituencies is aggregated, their results are aggregated, you find the results for the constituency, and you can determine that in that constituency they voted A for parliament and B for the president. And then you transmit the results to the national headquarters, and they collate all the results, they tally them, and then we can get our results. When you transmit to the regional coalition centers, you create room for manipulation of the results. And so Afarajan is right. The second thing is, I also think that Sani also hit the nail on the head when he said that there should be accessibility. When you look at the electoral laws of the country, collation of the results must be done in public. In public, in the sense that people must have access. Even at the Electoral Commission, the board must be shown clearly on how the results come in and how they are added up, and so that we can all follow. But look at what happened in the last elections. How do you explain how the Electoral Commission came to make a mistake? How do you make a mistake in an election? And then Sumoto goes to correct the mistake and repeats another mistake and continues changing the results up to about 7 times or so. And so But if it is transparent, if people have access, if the coalition is done on the national television, where the results come in, people will have opportunity to cross-check the results from the constituencies with what is on the board of the Electoral Commission. And that is the access that Adapt Sane is talking about. Technology is a human creation. I mean, we all say that garbage in, garbage out. And that's why people can manipulate technology. I mean, people can vote and program the technology in such a way as to produce a certain outcome. So that's why he's just cautioning that we need to be careful. I mean, if you bastardize the election, because you don't have the patent to the invention or the software, and so how is the software programmed? Do you have the capacity to determine whether the software is churning out accurate results? Who has that capacity? And so that's why, as a developing country and a country that is still struggling to put its foot forward on the electronic platform, we should hasten slowly. I mean, if not, we will create more problems. I mean, people will not simply understand how the results were collated by a computer and churned out, and they could lead us to all sorts of problems. So I agree again with Afarijan that we hasten slowly. America's democracy is more than 200 years old, but then they're still struggling with technology, not so. They're still struggling. I mean, even he cited the 6th January issue, but even before 6th January, Donald Trump was saying that voting by mail was largely responsible for the fraud perpetrated against him. Even voting by mail. Even voting by mail. So, so there are many issues. It's not even electronically, voting by mail.
Yes.
So that is why we need, as a developing country, still struggling with security issues, still struggling to stabilize our countries and encourage growth in positive direction, still struggling to provide food and water to many people who are living in deprived areas. We don't need to waste resources in trying to solve problems that do not exist.
Honorable, let me come to the issue of the special prosecutor versus Charles Bisu. And the court has said that the special prosecutor cannot arrest Charles Bisu. I'm trying to find the exact statement, but I'm sure you've followed it. What do you make of it, first of all? Is it the case that the SP is overstepping its boundaries, or some forces let me allow you. Let me allow you to go on.
I'm really surprised. You know why? Because there's an old case decided somewhere in 1963 by Akufo-Addo's father when he was Chief Justice. To the effect that when a duty is imposed on a person, you can restrain that person from the performance of that duty, unless that person is intending to perform that duty not in accordance with law. So it is the Law Act 959 that gives the special prosecutor the power to arrest. And when he invited pursuant to that act, Charles Bisu to report for investigation and gave him all the indicators that he was being investigated for the alleged crime of corruption or corruption-related offense, and that should come to the special prosecutor's office with his counsel. I mean, that was dignifying enough. Not so. He didn't go to his house to put handcuffs on him. He didn't go to his office to tap his shoulder and put him under arrest. They invited him in a civilized manner. He refused to go. And now, when the law enforcement agency invites a person pursuant to the act, enabling act, and that person refuses, neglects, or fails to go, and is done willfully, the next course of action is to go to court. For the court to give you a warrant, to summon that person to come and explain why he should not be incarcerated for refusing to obey your to respond to the invitation. And when you appear before the court you would have satisfied the summons, and the court would have said, okay, fine, you have come. This is not a bailing. This special prosecutor says he cannot fine you. Now that you have come, you strike out the summons, caution him to be law-abiding, and hand him over to the special prosecutor. That's what happens, and the special prosecutor will then go and continue with the investigations. Now, for a court to say that the special prosecutor should not arrest, it's tantamount to saying that the law empowering the special prosecutor to arrest is struck down. It's being held in abeyance. That's what the judge did. So the judge clearly has struck down the law. And I don't think that the law is unconstitutional, because the High Court judge has no jurisdiction over the interpretation of a statute as against the Constitution. And so what the judge did, actually, as I continue to ponder and reflect until I get the complete ruling of the court, I feel to locate it within the ambit of the praxis of law and also the powers of the court. Here you have a special prosecutor who has relied on a statute establishing it to invite a person to appear before it for the purposes of the performance of functions given him by law. That person refuses to come, so he becomes a fugitive from justice. Now, because even though the special prosecutor has the power of arrest, just like you, just like me, on certain conditions, he decides to go to court for a warrant for his arrest. Then the lawyer goes to court to say, no, you can't arrest him. It's a dangerous precedent. It's so dangerous that it's not funny. Because you see, it means that in future, if I'm being pursued by the police and they go and secure a warrant for my arrest, I'll go to court and allege an abuse of my human rights. And if it is a high court, if it is a lower court, then they are bound to follow the decision of the high court. If it is a court of coordinate jurisdiction, that is another high court, he might defer to that order, the ruling of the high court, or give his own ruling, so that you can escalate the matter to the Court of Appeal and then to the Supreme Court for a final determination of whether or not a person performing his duties can be restrained from the performance of those duties. So I mean, it's interesting times now that we are in, and so one will wait to see how this thing pans out. But it's strange. It's really strange.
You think the judge got it wrong? I mean, in summary,
I think. Well, that's why I'm saying that I won't jump to that conclusion yet. But it's really strange. I mean, I have read, I think it's Musi and Bajina. Well, there's a case, I still remember distinctly that there's a case in which there's a definite pronouncement of the Supreme Court then that where the statute imposes a duty on a person to perform, you can't restrain that person from the performance of that duty. This is a clear pronouncement of law. And unless that person is performing the duties not in accordance with the statute that gives him the duty, that is, the duty bearer is not performing the duty in accordance with the law giving him that duty, that's when you can restrain him. Now, and so you need to check to see whether that is the law. Act 959, does it give the special prosecutor the power of arrest? Has he exercised the power properly? If he has exercised it properly, what then becomes the grounds upon which a judge can restrain a duty bearer from the performance of that duty given him by law? So this is a jurisprudential question. This is a legal question that we'll all be looking at as we go forward.
But the special prosecutor has actually put up a notice, I think about 10 hours ago, that the general public is advised that in exercise of its police powers, the Office of the Special Prosecutor can arrest without a warrant any person it reasonably suspects of having committed corruption or corruption-related offences. So that's on
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That everybody, even you, have the power of arrest.
Yes.
When a crime is committed, in your presence, the special prosecutor, being an investigative body, have the power of arrest upon reasonable suspicion that a crime is being committed, because he has police powers. And so when you are traveling on the road and the policeman stops your car, there's a reasonable suspicion that you might be committing a crime, or your car might be involved in the commission of a crime, or you yourself, might be a reasonable suspect, and so they search your car. That is, and when they do, they don't need a police warrant to do that. And when they do, and then their suspicion is confirmed, then they send you for further investigations. So the special prosecutor has those police powers. And the fact that the warrant has been struck out is neither here nor there. If,
right.
Special prosecutor chances on Charles Bisu, he will arrest him. He will arrest him. And he has that power to do.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But sorry for identifying you as a Paul. Because your face, when I saw you, I knew that this was not Paul, because you are a bit heavy. But the host, the screen had described you as Paul Adumachiri, so I thought that Paul Adumachiri has come into some fortune of late, and so he's put on. But sorry.
But we also apologize for keeping you long. But we thank you very much for staying on with us all evening to be able to give us this very informed view on especially the special prosecutor issue and that of the electoral commission, former chair of the electoral commission statement. We are very grateful. So we'll go on a quick break and come back. When we come back, we'll pick our messages. We'll do an LPM and we'll see what's trending. And then if we don't have any more time, we'll be able to run out of here. We'll pick a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
price be? Hello, my people. My name is DJ Z. I'm 5 years old. This is the brand new song from Kofi Kinata, If You Come Along. Kofi Kinata, congratulations.
No awful bay. Motivational speech. You can say ya bay. Make it motivational speech. Malabano. Mumu be behind there. The man meeting that is Kamumuda.
So you welcome back from the break. Let me quickly do this one. Take some text messages, and then I'll speak to my guest for the final time. So you would have to allow us some 10 minutes, and I'm sure we'll be able to do this within 10 minutes. It says, enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. Worry no more, because with portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVEs, you are sure of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a simple to use self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. You may call it luxury, but it is a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home or office. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days with modification to your building. Visit Lifts and Elevators Ghana at Sakumono for your solutions and free consultations. Call us on 020535515 or email at elevatorsgh@gmail.com. elevatorsgh@gmail.com. Let me come to my people. Okay, so I'll quickly play a video for you, and then I'll come back to my team for the...
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVEs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation, to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
With that said, let me go straight to Anas. Anas, what do you have for us?
Thank you very much. Coming from Manuel Darko, he says, tomorrow is going to be the beginning of a journey of making history. Dr. Baumia has been ordained from above to lead the good people of Ghana from 2024 to 2032. And if God has said yes, who am I to say no? It is possible. Coming from Eric Bodo, he says, so why is it that OSP is not interested in the names mentioned in the Prof letter, including the Wasa East NDC MP, but tirelessly chasing Charles Bisu, who on records is the only appointee in the government's history who stood aside for an investigation against him? What is the motive of OSP at all? I need some clarification. Lastly, coming from Kwesi Prempe Bonsu, he says it is a conflict of interest for SP to arrest Charles Bisu because he was a lawyer to Anas and submitted the report to former SP, and now he wants to prosecute Charles. The SP should recuse himself. To you, Ella.
All right, thank you, Anna. So, also lastly on Bawumia, Samoba says every generation and its leader to steer the socio-economic affairs of an organization. At this Alpha generation, Dr. Alhaji Mahamu Bawumia, Walawale PSCA, is the only reputable one to lead Ghana at its season in which the whole world is going to see through such a digital world system. DBM has required the prodigy, it's not even to handle such agenda. If we lose him, Ghana will be doomed forever. Wow, I think the spelling was a bit problematic over there. Someone says, how on earth can Martin Amidu, the former SP, treat Anas as a suspect in his investigations? Kisi Ejabing took office and now has ruled out and only considers Anas and Tiger Eye PI as whistleblowers. How conflicting. You are compromising this investigation by your own biases. Kisi cannot be trusted. Is he really unbiased? Aaron from Accra says, justice delayed is justice denied, which to some extent means that our justice system has to be proactive, and they should be able to prove beyond doubt that they are capable, reliable, and ever ready to protect and serve the vulnerable, the weak, and the voiceless within our traditional societies, regardless of political affiliation, color, race, or tribe, because innocent people are wailing in jail in some jurisdictions on death row because 1, they lack communication, 2, they don't have the financial strength to defend themselves or have what it takes to defend themselves, although they are not guilty of the situation. But I think Ghana, our story about justice has to be different. I genuinely believe it has to be different too, Aaron.
Right. Aaron again says, good evening to you. I don't see anything wrong with Anas Saremaya and Nas's reports on corruption and other unacceptable acts, weird cultures and behaviors of our diplomats or politicians or public office holders. But his modus operandi is always questionable, which stands to reason that he is doing a very good job, but his work formality is wrong. But I suggest that, although his line of direction is very dangerous, he should always come clean, i.e. without masks when executing his task. It's an interesting one. This says, I must say, well done, Efriye. You are wearing a big man's shoes. God Almighty has already declared DMB as the next president of Ghana. I look forward to seeing Honorable Frederick Adom of Upper West Akim and DMB sworn in as MP and president in 2024. Moving on, Samuel Adams says it's very obvious that Bawumia will not win less than 70%. My only prayer is that no contestants resign from the NPP after the presidential primaries. Steve from Atiwa West says, the DMB factor defies the so-called Idrumisu talk shop. The kind of cards he brings to the table aren't either mere political or ethnocentric appeal. He's thus far demonstrated what needs to be shown by a true patriot in whom the objective Ghanaian could trust in leading the way to finding appropriate solutions to our mountainous problems as a united force in these ages and times of globalization. We can't, as a developing country, continue to do things the old way and expect turnaround results in the positive direction. To borrow Chairman Wuntemi's words, indeed, the signal is stronger than apartheid. Okay, Taufik from Kitikaraji says, please, Kwesi, His Excellency Dr. Bawumia should know that President Mahama can identify himself with the E-blocks, the school infrastructure he built all over the country. Dr. Bawumia has come again with another question. And that's it from us. Back to you, Kwesi Efriye.
Right, thank you very much, guys. Nana Kwame Watson, Ablikuma Central, says, good evening, Kwesi. Tomorrow, His Excellency the Vice President is going to submit his nomination form, which will mark the beginning to his massive victory. Let's meet and vibe. Nana Kwame Watson sent in that one. Nantoma Mamudu, Badim Sugru, a.k.a. Echaku Celestan. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is innovative and visionary. He is the best ticket to bring the 8. He's the best among the rest. From Tika, Wena, Dabuya, Mankarigu constituency, I think this has been read already. Dear Ghanaians, let us ponder on the issue of development agenda in Ghana. What is development agenda for or plan? I think the message has been repeated. AI has gone on reasons why NPP should vote for Dr. Bawumia. So you line up a number of items, but I'm trying to cut the message Andy Jan Yabua, critical thinker, development practitioner, sent me a very long one. But Amisco Pelele in Kaswa Republic says all the 11 aspirants of the MPP primaries are capable of winning the general election, but the most nightmare of the NDC is Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Amisco Pelele sent in that one. Abrewa Bubuashi says a decisive and confident leader who steps up to take on challenges by focusing on results, action-driven signal. The signal is strong. BMW Abrewa Bubuashi sent in that one. There is heavy traffic tomorrow, inshallah. As DMB, the choice of our dear delegates is set to submit his nomination forms. Prince Nuruddin Baumia in Boku sent in that one. From Hamdan Abubakar, Dr. Baumia is a new hope. He's the best man for the task ahead. Wycliffe of Atonsu, Mississippi. Wycliffe is my very good friend. Wycliffe, good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. You're also supporting Baumia. You say DMB. Inshallah, it is possible. From Coded in Enchi, I think I've read this already. McLean Desmond, I saw your message. I can't find it anymore. McLean Desmond, I can't find your message anymore. Master Planner Junior, aka Kintampo BMW. NPP is breaking the 8th agenda. It's a done deal with Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia. Jesse Boakun, president of Baumia must win. I'll read this one and finalize it. Those without a campaign message are attacking Dr. Baumia, who is the hope of this country and will continue the MPP developmental agenda. He is the surest bet among his contenders. Let me repeat again. Flag bearer full supporters without a message should stop attacking Dr. Baumia. The brand is unblemished. Fellow MPP delegates, let's rally behind Dr. Baumia and endorse him massively to become the flag bearer. Jesse Boakun, President Baumia must win. Okay, McLean Desmond from Seshuyos. Good evening to you, McLean. I'm looking for your message. Let me read this statement. This statement from Africa Prosperity Network. They say that their 2024 Africa Prosperity Dialogues will be launched on Sunday, June 18, as side event at Afri-Exim Bank on 30th Annual Delegates Meeting in Accra, or at the 30th Annual Delegates Meeting in Accra. They have issued a press statement. Unfortunately, time will not allow us to read, but on Sunday, the 18th of June, the 2024 Africa Prosperity Dialogue will be launched. That's what we have on the screen. Let me come back and round up with Sunny on what's happening in Asin North. We were actually to go into details of that, but unfortunately, time is up. But are you picking anything yet there? What's happening? Kumawu was virtually smooth. Security-wise, but let me.
Because Kumawu was quite obvious. I mean, everybody knew from the first instance that it's going to go to the side of the NPP. But with Asin North, it's going to be closely contested, and the two sides of the political divide are desperate to have it, considering the hanged nature of our parliament. So they would put in everything they can to ensure that they win. That is why I think we need to invest in a lot of security. The IGP has a lot of work to do going forward. We need more boots on the ground, and we need...
In Kumawu, we saw him with his men, he himself, on the ground. If you entered the Oyoko area, that's the entrance to the Kumawu constituency. He was there himself with his men, the camera team, everybody. I mean, making sure that the traffic flow and everything.
Yeah, and I'm sure he will be in Asin North as well. Exactly.
Did his presence and his team, I mean, mitigate anything that would have been untold of? And
yeah, of course. I mean, it was a clear demonstration of his commitment to ensure that nobody misbehaves. Okay, so this election, I must say, is going to be a dress rehearsal for what we're to expect next year. And if we get it right, trust me, we're going to get it right next year. So I think we need to bring all state resources to bear to ensure that in the end, whatever the outcome is, it reflects the will of the people.
I'm sure getting into next year, we'll be having you more here because of the nature of how 2024 elections will go.
Absolutely. It's going to be extremely dicey, you know. And it's going to also be very closely contested, unlike anything we've ever seen since the inception of the Fourth Republic.
I have to leave you here. I mean, there are too many messages coming in, and we have gone about 12 minutes past our time for the night. It's 11:12. And we want to say thank you very much for watching. Sunny Adib, a special thanks to you for being with us. I mean, you were here from the beginning of the show, and you've stayed through with us. We apologize for not informing you that we would have brought you in later on. But we are happy you have stayed with us and the knowledge you have shared. We thank you as well, Honorable Inusah Fuseini. You stayed with us also throughout. And then Dennis Miracles Abajo also passed through. This has been Good Evening Ghana, of course. Our text message readers, our team, very solid one. And the control team behind the cameras and everywhere, Tarek and the entire team, we say a special thank you to you. Paul will be in his seat on Tuesday, so you expect him, of course, with all of the analysis in the current affairs space. My name is Kwesi Afri. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.